Is this about like retail stuff or classic stuff? Oh, I guess it's for both. Well, let's watch the classic stuff today. I kind of want to watch the classic stuff today and then maybe play a little bit of classic WoW. I've been leveling. I've been doing a lot of work. Okay, here we go. This came out yesterday.
Let's jump into a Q&A with the classic team. Please introduce yourselves.
Hi, I am Ana Resendes, one of the two lead software engineers in the World of Warcraft Classic team.
Hi, I'm Clay Stone, Associate Production Director on the WoW Classic team.
And I'm Tim Jones. I'm the Assistant Lead Game Designer on the World of Warcraft Classic team.
Thank you for joining. Let's go straight into the questions now. Our first question is from many players all around the world. Why didn't you announce Wrath Era rounds?
True.
You know, we in the...
I'm glad they're actually asking real questions here. What the fuck? Damn. I didn't expect that.
Classic team is the moment where we're having the most offerings we have ever had in the past. You know, we get to have the new season coming up, hardcore. You can also go to the Classic Era servers, Wrath of the Lich King, and then Wrath of the Lich King is going to be moving into Cataclysm.
Yeah.
So when thinking about all these offerings that the Classic team has at the moment, we were very conscious about not wanting to further fragmented the population and where people want to.
It's a fair concern because like you think about where WoW is right now. You've got retail WoW, Classic Era, Hardcore, Wrath of the Lich King. That's 4 fucking versions of WoW. That's a lot of WoW.
Join into this journey, so we currently don't have plans to do so. That said, on the technical side, when we implemented Burning Crusade and Wrath of the Lich King, we were like super focused to make sure that whenever we want to bring those experiences again, it's going to be not such a hard time as it was the first time. Like we implemented it with in mind that it's going to come back at some point.
Ooh, so they're saying they're going to add a Wrath or a BC server again in the future. I think that's interesting. I like that. I'll be curious to see what that actually looks like.
Next question from the EU server of Ravencrest. Can you please share more specifically what is your current idea on the increased leveling speed from 1 to 80?
Yeah, so, you know, whenever we bring an expansion like Burning Crusade or Wrath Classic and now Cataclysm Classic, we feel like we have a really good opportunity to sort of reframe that expansion, and that's sort of where the genesis for a lot of our hashtags some changes come from. And
yeah,
when we think about the leveling speed, when we think about Cataclysm specifically, there's a renewed focus on Eastern Kingdoms and Kalimdor and that level 1 to 60 journey. That the level 60 to 80 journey being spent in Outland and in Northrend kind of doesn't feel like it's a part of. So what I would expect is for that level 1 to 60 journey with its hundreds of new quests, we expect a lot of players to be there, either brand new players or returning players. And we might not make as many adjustments to that 1 to 60 portion, although I will say we've been incredibly pleased with how well Joyous Journeys has been received every time that we've
that was good.
been able to bring it back for Wrath. It's actually live right now in Wrath Classic. So I would expect to see that from time to time for that level 1 to 60 journey. But the focus, I think, of our leveling changes there.
By the way, I think they should just have it in all the time at this point, because like if you have it in and you take it out, nobody's going to want to level without it. So like it just feels bad to level without it because of how frequent it is. Just leave it in all the time at this point. Yep, that's it. That's the norm. That's the new normal.
Are really going to be focused on that Outland and Northrend experience before players return from Northrend at level 80 to complete their level 80 to 85 journey in the main 2 continents of Azeroth. So I would expect to see just some experience increases there, similar to what you would see with Joyous Journeys. Not to take away from any of the content in those level bands, but certainly to get people a little bit quicker to that 80 to 85 portion once they reach that.
Well, I think that the goal is to make sure that the leveling time stays the same. And since you're adding in more content, obviously you're going to have the leveling time for the older content be a little bit faster.
That section.
Our next question is from Tom L. on ATS server. What will be done to make guilds more accessible and useful in Cata?
Oh, they have no
Yeah,
idea.
so this is
It's
another
huge.
one where
He doesn't know.
When we look back at the original Cataclysm, there's two sort of components that we think about guilds from.
Mm-hmm.
One, making smaller guilds more viable or on more of an equal playing field
Yeah,
as
sure.
the larger guilds. And then two, reducing some of the toxicity that was kind of introduced back then. If we look at that one first, there was a guild perk that existed where
The taxes.
for however many members you had within your guild, every time that they would loot gold,
You would
the
get a percentage
guild
of it.
would receive a portion or a percentage
Yeah.
of
Yeah.
that. And so it basically,
Bro, like, we had people, like, farming, bro. Like, there were these massive guilds. It was super OP. Yeah, it was huge. The guild perks. I just think they should take that out of the game. Just take that out of the game and rebalance getting the perks to be faster based off of the size of your guild, that it, like, scales based off of how many members there are. Or at least, like, have the guild start with all the perks or something like that. And then you don't have to worry about it. Because, yeah, the problem wasn't really with anything else. It was that one perk. As soon as they took that one perk out of the game, this entire problem went away. So just get rid of it, and everything will be fine.
then made it super impactful or important for a lot of guilds just to spam invites and try to get as many members as
Yeah.
That's
possible.
right.
I think that's certainly one area that we want to address. And then the other section on the smaller guilds, there are guild experience caps, both
Per
daily
week.
and
Yeah.
weekly, and challenges that players are being tasked with to overcome on a weekly basis. And the larger guilds have a much easier time being able to do that. So I would expect that as we look at what we can do there, I would expect that some of those challenges or experience gains or the ability to reach those experience caps.
In my opinion, I think they should just completely do away with this system and make almost all of it automatic with the guilds. I think the entire system with this and the process of it didn't work, and that's why they removed it after Cataclysm. If you want to do hashtag some changes, just throw it out. Just stop. Like, don't try to make the mistake that you made 10 years ago less. Just don't make it again.
Maybe adjusted so that smaller guilds can participate in that and unlock some of the perks on a more equal playing field as the larger guilds.
All right, our next question is from Awesome on the Paggle server. Can we expect to see the return of the Disenchantment button when items are being rolled out?
I hope so.
Yeah, short answer, yes. We're planning on doing that.
Yeah,
in
of course.
Cataclysm.
Why not?
Oh, that's a short answer.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yes, yeah, of course.
Can be as simple as that. Yeah.
Our next question is
good.
from Lilyberry on Grobula server. Is there any solution coming in Cata for the gear score meta making it impossible to gear up alts? Because I get
What a fucking idiot.
constantly rejected by groups.
Yeah, there's
I want to see their logs. And I'll tell you why they're getting rejected. Give me a 1 hour uncut video of them raiding an Old War. I'll tell you why they're not getting invited.
there's a lot of content that was both part of Wrath of Lich King Classic, like the Titan Rune dungeon system. It really allowed players to
This is the
continue to
random
explore
houses.
dungeon groups now through the random dungeon finder.
Yeah.
There's more ease for players to get into that and find groups easily, and really get the items that you need to be able to eventually jump into raids.
Yeah, and this is something that we're gonna keep monitoring through our.
Does everybody use the gear score add-on in Wrath now? I don't know what people use. So let me give you a hot take here. The Wrath gear score add-on is the same, if not a little bit better than gear score itself. Also, in patch 3.1, I believe, was whenever they actually started showing the item level for gear. This was the Old War patch. Because, so, if you go back, even Nagir and Wrath of the Lich King had an item level to it, and that item level was assigned. Like, I'll go through it very quickly. Nax 10 man was 200. Kel'Thuzad and Saffron were 213. 25 man was 213. Kel'Thuzad and Saffron 25 were 226. Malagos was 226 and 213 on 25 and 10 man respectively. Sartharian was 200, 213, and then 226 based off the gear. Then you go to Ulduar. The gear was 219 from normal mode, and that was for a lot of the bosses. And then you had on hard mode, you had the 232 gear. And then you also had 226 gear for tier gear. And then you also had 239 gear for hard mode 25-man gear. Then you go to TBC, or sorry, not TBC, Triumph of the Crusader. Triumph of the Crusader, normal mode was 232. Heroic mode was 245. Normal mode 25-man was 245. Heroic mode was 258. And then the cloaks that would drop were 245. And then, yeah, the cloaks were 245 on 10-man. Or no, I think they were 258. And then on heroic mode, they were 272. Then in Wrath of the Lich King, the normal mode 10-man was 251. Hard mode was 264. Heroic Lich King was 284 on, and Lich King dropped higher item level gear as well, 284, and then it was also, I think, 271 on 10-man. And then also hard mode ICC gear was 277. And also Halion followed the same paradigm. So the item levels back in Wrath existed and they were known. Now, I can do this with Kata and every other raid tier. However, the reason and the difference of what happened in Cataclysm is the fact that they put your item level on your character sheet. That they made a change with this. And so now it showed your average item on your character sheet, and they did that. Why did they do that? I remember, I was there. It's because of gear score. They did it because gear score was inaccurate, and people kept equipping gear that gave them a higher gear score to apply for ICC farm groups. So then they added item level. World of Warcraft will never get out from under the idea that people want to play with other good people. Stop trying to obfuscate being able to tell whether somebody is a good player or not. It doesn't matter if you have gear score, baseline gear, or something else. There will always be a quantitative measuring variable that will be determined based off of each player. The bygone era of, you just get excited because you've got a good attitude and you're ready to go. This didn't even exist in Classic WoW. This is a fantasy. It never happened. So it's just so fucking annoying to me that I have people that are making these questions whenever they don't even know what the fuck they're talking about. It's always been like this, and it always will be like this. People used to inspect in TBC. Yes. What's wrong with wanting to play with someone equal gear and skill? Well, what's wrong with it is because Lily sucks dick, and Lily's not able to get into the groups, so they're crying to Blizzard about it. Oh, let's make it to where nobody can tell what your item level is because you're garbage. Get the fuck out of here. Play with other people, they're garbage. Stop expecting a carry.
You know, not just when Cataclysm starts, but also...
That's what I think.
When the pre-patch comes in and a lot of people might be coming back to the game and trying to experience all of the content. So we're going to be looking into it and making sure that we're always on the looks of finding ways that it could potentially ease that, like as Tim mentioned, the Titan Rune dungeons is kind of an idea of that, and there's always like different steps to get there. We know that Titan Rune dungeons, we acknowledge that they might be a little bit of a steep step for a newer character, so you can always start, your journey going into normal dungeons.
Yeah, exactly. Do the normal mode dungeons. It's not that hard. You get carried all the time. Of course I get carried all the fucking time. Absolutely I do. And you know why? Because I used to be the one that did the carries. I was one of the first ones selling carries, bro. Me and Jeff selling those battle bears back in Cata. Oh, we be selling those, bro. I'll wake up. He'd be texting me on my flip phone. He'd be like, oh, we got one. Get out of bed. Yeah. It was a good time, man. This is like, y'all gotta remember, like back then, I didn't stream. I didn't do shit, man. Like all I did was play WoW. Like, I know this shit real well.
The heroic versions eventually, or through PvP and getting some gear so you're ready for those catch-up mechanics that we have, like the Titan Rune dungeons. That will be coming into Cataclysm in a different form.
Our next question comes from Sageman,
That's a
1923,
stupid
on the
question.
Classic WoW subreddit.
Probably born that year, youngest classic player.
Could we possibly get a roadmap of the future level caps?
Yeah, so Season of Discovery and the level
yeah.
caps. I guess just to recap sort of what those level caps are, we're starting at level 25. After level 25, we're going to
40,
raise the
50,
level
and
caps
60,
to
right?
40.
Yeah.
We're going to raise it to 50, and then we're going to raise it to 60, and
Yeah.
of course have all of the end-game content after 60.
That's the roadmap. You already have it.
When we think about the timing for those, we're not ready just yet to say when they're coming.
That you can't be. How the fuck can you expect them to be ready? Who the fuck is asking these questions? How can you expect that? They're going to wait. They're going to have analytics. They're going to say, okay, most people are 25 now. They've run the raid. Let's open up the next patch. That's what they're going to do. It's common sense. They even said that.
There's an
mad.
element of flexibility in there that we want to be able to maintain. Part of the inspiration for this was back when the original classic beta was live prior to its launch in 2019. It was so cool to see the new metas that
Yeah, it was
developed
really fun.
and what an end game at level
Never forget. Do you remember whenever me and S-Fan, Sony, and fucking Soda tried to peacock around in Scarlet Monastery, thinking that they could clear Scarlet Cathedral before we could? And then me and S-Fan made our own group of like random people, and we beat the fucking shit out of them, and we cleared the whole dungeon, and like nobody died? Remember that? Make Azeroth great again, yeah. Glorious day. Happened 5 years ago.
30 or level 40, I think it was, were the two level caps that we used, what that looked like. So when we think about the
SM Cathedral's a
roadmap
joke,
and the
but was it for them?
timetable for when we'll be increasing these level caps for Season of Discovery, we really want to give enough time for that meta to develop and for players to be able to experience that end game at each of these level caps. So you won't have to wait too long, but we want to give it a little bit more time to see, how the first one at level 25 performs, and kind of
That's
use
smart.
that as a basis for when we want to start moving on to the,
Very
to
smart.
the next ones.
Our next question from Asadai on the Chrome Crush server. Will content from previous level caps remain relevant from chapter to chapter as the level cap is increased?
This guy's probably one of my viewers. Let me /user and see if he's one of my viewers. He's not. Okay, it's not even the Twitch name, but he's probably one of my viewers. This is a great question.
Yeah, absolutely. The beauty of making level up content is that we're adding new things to the outdoor world, and even as phases progress and people jump in that weren't playing in phase 1, or people making alts because they can't wait to see what kind of runes that other classes have to offer. They're going to be leveling through Azeroth again, and the new content, the new rune discoveries that we added to zones all throughout the world, people get to experience that. So that will definitely be relevant content to the level up experience all throughout the lifespan of Season of Discovery. We also hope that the content like our level up raids, that people feel comfortable incorporating those into their level up journeys. Mm-hmm. So if you're in phase 2 or beyond and you can get a group together in your mid 20s, then why not run Black Fathom Deeps a couple times, get a couple great pieces of gear and use that to help level yourself up.
They've got to, if they want this to happen, they have to make quests in there. So there's two things that can happen, okay? Mid-20s, yeah, nobody that's in their 20s is playing this game. It's all 40-year-olds. 30 and 40-year-olds. Anyway, so I don't necessarily think that it's a good idea to make it good experience to just run the dungeon, because then all you're going to have is people running the dungeon all of the time. Like, that's it. Because it will become the meta if the dungeon experience is that much better. So what they should do is they should make a handful of quests that you need to do. Maybe one quest that you complete at once, another quest you complete it 3 times, and you do those 2 quests, and those quests are very rewarding, and that way the dungeons don't change the way you level, but they're still compelling enough for you to want to level there in the first place. That's what I think they should do.
Get one of those like new items that we're creating.
Yeah.
That will aid
Yes.
you. Yeah.
All right, our next question is from Malzar with the guild Jolly Roger.
Ooh.
They ask, is it reasonable to
Malzar.
assume that classic raids will eventually come to Season of Discovery as well, such as being able to acquire Atiash?
Yeah. So yes.
Wow. Fucking confirmed. So it is Classic Plus. Holy shit. There it is.
Absolutely. So many of those raids are so iconic. We absolutely want to include them. I think at this point, thinking about the Season of Discovery twist on everything, it's possible that they could also come with some changes. When we think about that, we think about some of the work that we did on Season of Mastery as kind of being within the realm.
Don't make the raids harder. You're going to make everybody quit the game. Like, you can't, if you have, think about, bro, 2 bombs on Baron-Geddon. What do? Oh, one guy goes left, another guy goes right? Okay, well, what if both of them go right? See? You can't have that. You can't have, like, which right? Yeah, do you mean right from this direction or right from the other direction? Oh, you mean left. So is this left or reverse left? Oh, okay. Yeah, you can't have 2 bombs. Like, you can't, it's too much.
Of adjustments or additions that we might make to them.
Great
But on the flip
mammoth
side,
extinction
we're
in
still
MC,
discussing it. And we recognize that players' characters that'll be coming to each of these are going to have access to tons of new abilities. And that's kind of going to bring a fresh spin on these raids as they exist without any changes or additions. So something that we're still in discussion on, but the raids will absolutely be there.
They should just give the bosses more health. Just give them more health. That's it. Nothing else. Because, like, you can't have... And damage? Yeah, maybe a bit more damage, yeah. Like, you can't have a boss that has 2 abilities. Because, like, if you're thinking about worrying about one ability and then the other ability happens while you're thinking about the first, well, you're not fucking ready for that shit, right? And so then it's like, oh my God, bro, like, how are you supposed to do this? Nobody can do this. So it's like, that's why they quit retail in the first place. Like, these people have jobs, okay? They've got, 3 wives, 6 kids, and 4 jobs. They don't have time to do more than one mechanic. It's not going to happen. You don't want to have all the mammoths go extinct.
Maldazar has a second question, and they ask, are there any plans to introduce any new legendary items for Season of Discovery, such as the original
Bro,
Ashbringer
this guy's a legend. Holy fuck.
or Frostmourne?
It's a big maybe. I think we're so excited to explore sort of the unfinished storylines or quests that abruptly ended, like what's behind the gates of Timbermaw Hold in Azshara, or why does the quest line for the Shade of Aranicus gem abruptly end in Winterspring? We're super excited to explore continuing those storylines or quests when it's appropriate and when it is respectful of content that was eventually explored in future expansions.
That's smart. Yeah, I think that's smart. I think that the most important thing is to make sure that the content they add into the game doesn't invalidate older content. Like, I don't want to see a raid that comes out that's like a higher tier than Nax, and like it's easier than Nax, or the mechanics are different, so everybody just does that raid and nobody does Nax anymore. The reason why Classic WoW is special and good is because Molten Core still has relevance, even in Phase 6. You've got Onslaught Girdle, you've got Band of Akira, you've got the fucking Toep, Talisman of Ephemeral Power, you've got Thunder Fury. Come on. The Bindings, yeah. Quick Strike Ring, yeah.
Our next question comes from Sir Thunderpaws on the Classic WoW subreddit. What are you going to do to address gold inflation, gold buying, and botting?
Yeah.
Don't lie. Yeah.
Address gold inflation, gold buying, and botting.
Yeah.
That was good.
So this kind of activity
Yeah.
and the impact that it has is incredibly important to us.
Then why don't you ban the people that do it? How is it that Blizzard, if you go to Wrath of the Lich King, do you know who's buying gold and who's botting? Do you know? Everybody knows, right? I know. I feel like everybody in the whole world knows who's botting and buying gold except for Blizzard. So we've got to find a way that we can like communicate with them and be like, bro, we figured it out. Like, you don't need to think about this at all. Like, all you need to do is just listen. There are 75 Death Knights that are running Botanica 24 hours a day. Blizzard, I think we have a problem. The problem, this is what the issue is. The reason why people buy gold is because the chance of getting banned is too low. If the chance of getting banned for buying gold was 10%, then people wouldn't buy gold. But the chance of getting banned is like 0.5. It's 1%. And if you do get banned, oh wow, you bought, you spent $100, you got enough gold to do a GDKP, and you bought Deathbringer's Will. And Blizzard finds out about it, and you get suspended for 3 days. You come back, and you look at your trinkets, you've still got Deathbringer's Will. Blizzard should just delete it. Because that's the problem. It's people keep buying gold because it's better to buy gold. It's really simple. It's a 2-week suspension, though. That's not enough. It should be 6 months. Gold bans are 2 weeks now. That's nothing. It should be 6 months. Yeah, if you're buying gold, everybody that's buying gold, like, they know they're cheating. You know you're cheating. It should be 6 months.
Not just as developers of the game, but also as players of the game ourselves. So it's something that the team is...
Also, I think 6 months is fine.
Incredibly focused on. Almost nonstop.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know about that. Like, how can you guys not figure it out? Like, I don't get it. Why? Why can't they figure this shit out?
When we think about this, and we think about the tools that we have at our disposal, it gets challenging to get into specifics on it because
then you can be held accountable for those specifics. So we don't want to talk about any sort of real action. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a long time to say nothing, and hopefully it'll be long enough that you'll forget that we didn't answer the question.
is the more that we talk about it and the more that we talk about how we work on this or the areas
he's right about what he's about to say.
That we work on.
It helps people reverse engineer.
The more self-defeating it can become because of that level of insight that we're giving into.
Yeah.
So I would say that I'm sure some players have noticed the occasional instance where an instance might close for a little bit with not very much warning and then may reopen. Those could be areas where some of our team are making some changes due to some activity that we've seen in those spaces. I think part of the challenge really is that communication problem that we come across. The
problem is that People are buying Deathbringer's Will for gold cap. That's what the problem is. We don't need you to tell us that people are getting banned if the people are getting banned. But they're not. The problem is that people are buying gold, and the reward for buying gold is so much higher than the punishment. You get a 2-week suspension? What the fuck? Somebody takes a vacation for that long. That's not even a big deal. They pay 3 or 4 gold caps in Classic. That's insane. There's not a disincentive. Just ban the gold buyers, ban the people that are selling stuff for real. How is this hard? Holy fuck. 2 weeks so they can re-up their sub on the 3rd week, by the way. Yeah, true.
Trying to find ways to be more communicative about our efforts. One of the things that we started doing several months ago is working with our community team to post the monthly number of accounts that have been actioned, to kind of give some of that visibility into the work that our team and our partner teams are doing in this area.
That doesn't matter because you're banning bots, right? Like, you're banning bots, but you're not banning the people that are actually, like, if you go into Stormwind and you look at one of these GDKP Andes, a lot of them are buying gold. They just buy gold. And, like, I trust that they ban. I don't think that they're lying about this at all. I think they're telling the truth. They are banning this many people. But the problem is that it doesn't matter how many people you ban whenever the biggest offenders are sitting in Stormwind showing it off. It destroys the integrity of the game. Ban GDKP, it won't matter. Then people just roll and then trade it for real money. That doesn't solve the problem. Like, banning GDKP, like, there's no GDKP in retail and people are buying gold like crazy. That's not the point. You've got to ban the people that are buying the fucking gold. How's this so hard?
I think, bottom line, we recognize that this is a battle, and we recognize that it's a battle that's not going to stop. But we are up to the challenge. This is one that we are not going to stop fighting. The team is committed to it. Our partner teams are committed to it, and we're going to use all the tools at our disposal and our evolving tactics to continue addressing it.
Why can't you, like, I don't understand. Like, I don't get this. I really don't. Like, how do they not have, like, a sort function for the accounts with the most gold on a server? Like, what database doesn't have a sort function where you look at gold owned or gold earned or gold traded isn't a variable that you can sort by? It just sort by the highest ones and the people that have certain items, because I guarantee you can sort by that too. And if you see a bunch of people that have 10 million gold traded and they have Deathbringer's Will on 2 characters, just look into it for like 5 minutes. It's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, in the technical side of things, we're always looking into different options on how to increase, all of the code and like the systems that we have in place. And
it's not going to work. You need to have people that look into it because there's always going to be somebody who can trade around the system. That's not the point.
Like it's always part of like our tasks that we always are looking into, and we work really closely with the modern side of the game too, because to kind of have a concrete and like unified front into this battle.
Our next question comes from the BG Hero on the Classic WoW subreddit. How do you plan to balance factions for World PvP and Season of Discovery?
Yeah, so this is a fun one. I want to start.
How do you plan to balance factions for World PvP and Season of Discovery?
Yeah, so this is a fun one.
I know that person. Did she say Twitter? Reddit? I think that person might be my old guild leader.
I want to start kind of just talking about servers or realms for a second. I don't think a lot of players realize, because we've only talked about it once or twice publicly, but when we were developing hardcore realms, we were actually able to develop quite a bit of technology and new methods to raise the realm caps for the number of concurrent players that we can have connected to a single realm at a time, quite substantially. So when you look at the number of realms that we launched with on hardcore, it may seem like there's only a couple, but they can actually hold a far greater number of players at a single time than we had ever previously been able to achieve on previous classic realms. So that's certainly something that we want to employ when it comes to Season of Discovery. It's kind of like we want to do as few realms as possible while still being able to get everybody in who wants to play.
That's very smart, by the way. That's 100% what they should be doing. They should not go and try to make as many realms as possible and stuff like this. This is a bad idea because people leave the realms and it just sucks. It's better to have different layers.
Now that being said, I'm also not an engineer, so Anna, I don't know if you want to talk a little bit more about that or about the PvP side of things and how that's going to be impacted.
I mean, we hope that with these, the population kind of regulates a little bit more, knowing that like with less options to choose from, we have seen these in data before, right? When there's not as many servers to choose from the beginning, kind of like the factions start balancing a little bit more. So that's our hope with all these improvements that we're doing.
They're probably right, yeah. Because like I bet there's probably like close to a 50-50 of people that want to play Alliance versus Horde. It's not like everybody wants to play Horde and nobody wants to play Alliance and vice versa. But like what happens if there's a lot of servers is that people just go to the one where everybody's playing Horde or everybody's playing Alliance.
The other thing too is that the World PvP event that it's currently being developed, well, actually it's ready to go for level 25. It actually doesn't start until both factions get to a certain threshold. So we're hoping that when
like
the
AQ event kind of?
Starts, it's going to be at a balanced place and a balanced battle. And of course, we're going to be keeping a close eye on it and just making sure, like, hey, is this working? Do we need to do any adjustments to the World PvP event that might, you know, help that balance and keep that balance and making it fun, right? Like, because we want it to be fun. So yeah, we're kind of like keeping an eye on the server population, plus also the new events and all of those kind of things, and keeping the faction balance on mind.
I look forward to watching those streams on that World PvP event.
Yeah, it's going to be fun.
I'm going to be excited. Actually, I'm looking forward to doing that too.
What's so much fun about Classic is that it's like, I think of PvP in Classic as being like World PvP and those like epic battles with a bunch of people out there in the world. So it's going to be really fun. Very excited.
Our next question comes from Arithma from the Guild After Dark. Are there any plans to buff and or tune both instance and open world content to make up for the large number of buffs coming to every class?
They've already addressed this, and I think the answer to that is yes.
Yes, absolutely. You know, we want the world of Classic to feel both exciting and challenging to players, and especially as we're adding new content to the open world, really encouraging people to go into all the nooks and crannies of different zones looking for these new runes. Players are going to get a decent amount of power from those runes, and so we want to not one-to-one counterbalance the difficulty of outdoor content. We want players to feel an increase in power, but we within reason. So where it's appropriate, we have the power to adjust the HP and the damage of creatures in the outdoor world. Now, as for tuning of our raids, we also want our raids to be challenging.
I don't think it matters what the damage and the health numbers are. I think it matters what the tools that you give the players are. For example, if you give warriors Victory Rush that allows them to heal themselves, you solve the warrior's biggest problem. Now, I think that's the real factor there, is that a lot of these classes are getting a tool and a machine that will, a tool and a resource that will allow them to fill in the gap that they didn't have. Like the beauty of Classic is that every class besides a Warlock is incomplete and can't do something. So like a mage is really good at doing damage and AoE farming, but they're really bad at survivability and they have very low health. And they can't heal. A warrior is really good at damage, and, you know, with a healer, they're amazing. But if they don't have a healer, they'll die quite quickly, and they can get unlucky with parries or something like that. Paladins have a pretty good amount of downtime. I would say not crazy downtime, but they can't really do AoE farming that well unless they spec specifically for that. And if they do, then they lose other things. So every class has something that it's not good at. And what my concern is with these runes is that the runes will make the classes good at what they're not good at, which will make the necessity to interact and to socialize in Classic less important. Because I don't think people socialize by voluntarily. I don't think that people want to socialize. I think they socialize because they have to.
We also want them to be approachable, but especially for rewards, we want to make really cool items and rewards for people to be excited about and go after in these dungeons. And so we want the challenge of the bosses to reflect the power of the rewards that we're handing out.
Yeah.
Our next question comes from RoarG90 on the WoW Classic.
This is a very good question,
subreddit.
too.
Is there a possibility we can see two-handed enhancement shaman viable as DPS?
They should absolutely do that because that's something that's unique about Classic WoW.
You know, the modifications necessary to make both. There's a lot of modifications necessary to make both two-handed enhancement shamans and dual-wield enhancement shamans viable. For Season of Discovery in particular, we've focused more on modeling after the Burning Crusade version of enhancement shaman. We're keying off of runes like Lava Lash and dual wield specialization.
Dual wield is awesome, but two-handed enhance is something that makes Classic special. That's just how it is. It makes Classic special. Like, let's have two-handed enhance, man. Like, come on. Like, I'm not saying that they need a legendary for it, because to be honest, you already have one. They have Sulfuras. But like, that should be something that you can do. Like, how the bro, like, you can have a tanking warlock and you can't have a two-handed enhance shaman? I mean, come on.
Handed enhancement shaman working properly, we probably have to add like a 5th rune to some of the armor slots to make that work.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's not in our plans currently, but it's an intriguing possibility. And, you know, on the Classic team, we're always listening to feedback of our players. So if that's something that players are passionate about and want, please tell us.
Oh, we will.
Yes, we do want it. I think that two-handed enhance is one of those things that adds texture and excitement to Classic WoW. The old Unbreakable video is probably one of the most famous shaman videos of all time. It's one of the cool, unique things about Classic, and I think that that's what makes Classic special, is that you can do cool stuff like that. Two-handed enhance shouldn't be the only thing you can play. That would be stupid. But I don't want to see everything built around dual wield. I'm not a shaman. Like, maybe I'm wrong about this, but like, shamans to me, like back in the day, always felt like arms warriors. Like, in terms of like two-handed enhance shamans, arms warriors with a few more tools and a little bit less survivability. And I thought that was really cool.
Just you wait. Just you wait. Our next question comes from Beth F. on Senjin. Will there be a Scarlet Monastery raid?
Ooh. You know, the content that we mistakenly teased at BlizzCon, it really represents just a huge aspirations that we have on the Classic team. You know, the treatment that we gave the Black Fathom Deeps raid, it represents just what we're willing to do to existing content. I'm so excited for players to be able to see our discoveries that they didn't get.
I can't wait to see them on my add-on that will tell me exactly where to go with coordinate locations and resources to allow me to play exactly in the way that is the hyper-optimized, maximized version of playing a level 25 video game to the highest degree of efficiency. We're going to do a Black Fathom Deeps GDKP on the 3rd day of the expansion. On the 3rd day of the server. Yep.
To see at the convention.
Day 3. GDKP.
Or BlizzCon, because they're really a great example
RMT
of
only, yeah,
the level of detail and care and love that we're putting into making brand new content. And all of that to say, there's a deep desire among us on the Classic team to make brand new, never before seen Classic raid content for a Season of Discovery. There's nothing to announce at this time, but
guys, they're making the Scarlet Cathedral raid. I fucking knew it. Yep, it's gonna be the Scarlet Citadel. 40-man raid. At the end of it, you purify the corrupted Ashbringer. You heard it right here. It's gonna happen. Fuck yeah.
We're definitely
I'm excited now.
We have big aspirations.
Our next question comes from Felich on Kazakh. In Season of Discovery, will I be able to find runes that make Smite, Holy Priest DPS viable, or is Holy Disc meant to be healers?
Yeah, I mean, that
Disciplined Priest should have something to where it can do ranged holy damage. Like a Bishop or an Inquisitor, you know? Remember like that boss at the end of, what was that bullshit dungeon in patch 4.3? In Time or something like that?
that's one of the beauties of Season of Discovery and like having all these rune systems.
Hour
is
of
that,
Twilight.
The runes are not specialized depending on what talents you choose. So there's like certain runes that if you read about them, they're more like DPS focused, like homunculus. And then there's other ones that are more healer-based focus, like penance or prayer of mending.
You do
right?
penance for damage.
But the idea is that you can mix and match them all, right? So you can be a disciplined priest or a holy priest and go and pick the more on the shadowy side, on the DPS side, and there's nothing stopping you. So you can go and still heal with your abilities, but then also pick some of the DPS ones and still have the same ability as them. And on the opposite side too, right? If you're playing a shadow priest, maybe you also want to have a penance here and there and like play with it, and maybe you're even more of a hybrid of a healer / DPS.
I can't wait to see this bro. This is gonna be such a fucking circus whenever this shit comes out. Like, there's gonna be something that's like totally fucking broken. Like, somebody's gonna be able to do like 1,000 DPS at like level 25 by like some broken fucking meta that we can't even imagine. Like, yeah, there's gonna be a Rex Troy video like how to one-shot Kazakh in the level 25 Season of Discovery.
Our next question comes from Marcos from the Guild From the Ashes. I heard on a stream that with Season of Discovery, the sky is the limit. If so, what is the most radical change you'd be willing to implement?
Thank God I remembered this. Blizzard! Guild banks. Add guild banks. Actually, just add guild banks. I don't have anything else to add besides that. Put guild banks in the game. And also, in hardcore WoW, I want guild banks. I want it. It's not even a question. Dual spec, no cost. Not for hardcore? Why? 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 Tell me why. Tell me why. Why am I wrong? Why? Why? Well, the inflation? Idiot. People can't farm for you? They trade me gear anyway. They mail it to me. It doesn't matter to me. People can dump all this stuff into a hardcore bank and keep it even if they die. But they can't do that with another character? Because don't other characters function as guild banks anyway? Stupid. It is stupid. We need a guild bank in hardcore, and we need a guild bank in Season of Discovery. Any argument that somebody presents, I will destroy. Does anybody have a stupid fucking argument against this? You've changed my mind. You're right. We need it. Yes. Stupid not to have banks in the game. True. Why do you want guild bank again? Because it's an improvement on the game. And it allows you to, like, for example, if you make something in hardcore, you can put it in the guild bank and somebody can ask for it from the guild bank because everybody has a dedicated place where all of the resources are, and people can share and pool resources in a way that is natural. Killing guild bank characters on hardcore is a valid strategy and fun. I don't really think it's a valid strategy. Killing people's characters with a guild bank, I think, is stupid. And I don't think that's a type of gameplay that should be reinforced. I thought there is guild banks in vanilla. Guild banks were added in Burning Crusade. Say ban accounts longer, you won't receive as much free stuff. They ban members that buy gold. It's got nothing to do with me. I don't understand why guild banks aren't in the game right now. Just add guild banks. And guaranteed they should be in Season of Discovery. It's not even a question. Why do people always have to make it about you whenever the argument is about the game? Because they're stupid. That's why. It's simple.
It's a great question, Marcos. You know,
So already
we
improvement,
really
just makes
want to
the game
double
better.
down on the philosophy
Add guild banks.
of the world as the main character in Season
True.
of Discovery.
So true.
And you know, the beauty of getting to work on level banded content phases as a designer is that we get to focus on one section of the game at a time as it's relevant to players while they're leveling up. And whether that content, you know, manifests itself as outdoor world PvP or new world bosses, new rewards, new contests.
All right. Season of Discovery. Honor implementation. No battlegrounds. Only open world PvP. With war mode. That's what I think. You opt out of it, you don't like it, fine. But if you want to get in there, and you want to get to work, that's how it is. No war mode? Absolutely war mode. Absolutely. Any argument you make is stupid. You want me to read a few of them and prove it? Any argument you have is stupid. War mode is an overall positive, and it's just an improvement on the game. Why no BGs? I just think it'll be special and more interesting. That's why. I think farming BGs all day for honor ranks is boring. That's why. War mode is an L. Here's the problem. Let me explain what the problem is. Let's say you want to make a character, and you make a character on a server that's imbalanced. If you don't have war mode, you just made a mistake on character creation. And I believe that no mistakes should be made. It should not be possible to make a mistake on character creation. This is a massively harmful thing for a lot of people. Just start again. Not everybody lives with their mom. Like, nobody has time. I got to max level. I'm being outnumbered. I guess I have to remake my new character. I have to make a whole new character. Get the fuck out of here. Why doesn't Blizzard just balance the server? Pay people to play Horde smart. Instant L for new people getting into the game? Yes. A lot of people like to make the opposite faction character on an uneven server because of the world PvP. Really? Well, then why did all the classic WoW servers trend towards one population? Oh, that's right. Because it's not true. Your theoretical ideology doesn't matter when you have a graph. People love being outnumbered. Graphs are just so nice. We love graphs. What if they add some kind of queue for an overpopulated faction? So your solution is that you want people to not play the game. Well, what if you want to play with your friend? You log on, you've got 3 hours to play the game. You can't log on? No, what the fuck is wrong with you? You should be able to log on immediately. Why can't we see the faction percentage on the character select? Because the player doesn't have enough knowledge in order to process that information to understand what it means. Like, Is nobody here capable of putting themselves in the shoes of a player who doesn't know everything about the game? You have to have war mode. It's better. It just is. It's better in every way. Do you have a suggestion? Yes, war mode is better. Period. These people don't wear shoes. They don't even know what shoes are. War mode enjoyer here. It's incredibly fun Dragonflight, so much open world PvP. Yes. That's not a suggestion, it's an opinion. It's an opinion that's right. Guys. I just want y'all to understand, what's your difference between war mode and PvP flag? I don't think you should be able to turn PvP on and off unless you're in a city. It just creates bad gameplay. I don't like war mode. It separates you in the world. I wish you could see other people. Okay, so then get rid of layers. Bad argument. Try again. You can't get rid of layers. It would be too overpopulated. Nobody be able to do anything. You won't be able to camp Black Lotus spawns and Devil Stars with war mode. No contest if everyone has war mode. I don't know what you mean. How do you incentivize people to join war mode when they have their PvP rewards? To kill people. Duh. And also, if you already have your rank 14 rewards, why not just let them take a break? If they're not doing it for fun at that point, they don't need another carrot on a fucking stick. Let them take a break. There will be a lot of rage with war mode, dude. There's a lot of stupid people out there, and I will disenchant every single one of them. Because I know what I think will work, and until somebody provides me an argument that makes me believe that I am wrong, I will retain that I know what I'm talking about.
We're going to do our best to figure out where that content fits best within our new level banded content phases.
Mm-hmm. Our next question comes from Viaprax on the EU server Storm Reaver. For the season server, will racials be rebalanced?
Yeah, that's a fantastic question. You know, racials are incredibly important to, solidifying the fantasy of the character that you're playing, whether you're...
Racials are part of classic WoW. The only time that they should be changed is whenever a racial is so grossly overpowered that anybody who's not playing with it is an idiot.
A Tauren with War Stomp or an Undead with...
Here's an example. I think that all priests should get Fear Ward. I don't think only Dwarf priests should get Fear Ward.
The Forsaken,
I think it's bad design.
It really defines your character. But at the same time, we know that a lot of people choose certain races because it's the optimal choice.
Of course.
And we know our classic players. They love choosing the optimal choice. So with that said, we're not going to do anything specifically to racials as they currently exist on characters. However, some of the things that players rely on racials to do, certain
like Fear Ward?
stat bonuses like weapon skill that orcs and humans get with axes and swords and maces. We aim to assist with where people have access to those stats through the rewards in our level up raids and discoveries that people find while leveling. So people won't feel forced to, get the Edge Master's handguards in order to be viable if you chose the race that you want to play because you like their...
Realistically, there should be more than like 2 resources to get plus skill on weapons. It's kind of bad design that there's only 1 item that gives you that. I don't think this is really a big deal, but again, if this is causing everybody to play one way, like I feel like warrior distribution was pretty good between like at least gnomes and humans. Like not a lot of people played dwarf warriors or night elf warriors, as many, but especially dwarves and humans were kind of good.
Racial abilities, or you just like how they look. Another topic
I'll have to look
on
and
the
see.
point of racial abilities is priests. Priests have a wide variety of unique racial abilities specific to their race and class. And
Star
you know, one
shards.
of the things that we haven't really gotten into details about in Season of Discovery are the rune acquisitions themselves, and how some classes have some very unique ceremony associated with learning their runes. And priests are one of those. They'll be encouraged to go into the world and learn about the religions and the faiths of the different races of Azeroth. And so this is not planned for the level 25 phase, but in future phases, we're open to exploring, you know, priests perhaps getting access to the priest racials of other races in the journey of that religious exploration that they have to do.
That's probably smart to do because, again, Fear Ward is... See, they're so smart. Like, that guy actually knows what he's talking about. Fuck yeah. Yeah, Fear Ward, absolutely.
All right, we have one last question, and this is from Tyranny533
This is a
on
really
the
good
Classic WoW
question, too.
subreddit. Will Season of Discovery end with server wipes like Season of Mastery, or will servers stay open for future content once the level 60 phase is out?
Yeah, that's a very good question.
I don't think they know.
We're really excited to have the level content phasing that we're planning for Season of Discovery. So we're really hoping to get an idea of how players are interacting with the content through this. I mean, right now,
So they
it
don't
is
know.
a season, right? So it is set up to be temporary. We always guarantee you that you're going to be able to keep the characters that you create one way or another.
What if I delete
How
it?
that's gonna look, it's not solidified yet. We're still talking, and we're gonna be seeing, as I mentioned, monitoring through all these phases, seeing how people are engaging, see what people love the most. So then we can find these characters a place, right? So keeping an eye on it. We don't have final plans on it. But we guarantee you that your character is going to be able to go one way or another. And of course, if there's like something that everybody just loves so much and they don't want to see gone, we're definitely going to talk about different options on how we can allow players to keep having the fun that they're having. Yeah.
That wraps up our Q&A session.
So they don't know. The answer is we've got no idea.
Thank you guys so much for hanging out,
Yeah.
and we'll see you guys next time.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye. That was a pretty good video. At the beginning, I was actually starting to maul over some of those questions. I'm going to be totally honest, guys. And we're going to watch the retail part probably tomorrow, and we'll look at that. But I wanted to look at the classic stuff today. And overall, I mean, this does seem pretty promising. Everything seems good about it. Yeah, I'm happy. And just in general, I think they need to deal with the botting and take care of that, but I don't know how they can really do that in a healthy way. The botting question was bullshit. It absolutely was.